Hello, I'm Mary Director and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I do have a blog that's filled with photos, ideas, and lots of tutorials. You'll find it at www.KreatesKards.com. I also have an official Stampin' Up! Website, which is marydirector.stampinup.net. I will bring this back at the end of the video. Today I want to talk to you about some really great new products that Stampin' Up! Has. They're called Thinlits. I'm going to show you 3 different products. I'm going to hopefully give you some tips on how to use them. They're just great and they're used with our Big Shot machine, die cutting machine. The first one I want to tell you about is our Expressions Thinlit dies. They're number 132171. And they actually create words, thankful, merry, and love. What I've done is I'm showing you the die down below, and then up above I'm showing you a cutout of it, otherwise you wouldn't be able to see it. They're real easy to use. What I have found is that by using the new Stampin' Up! Magnetic platform, this is number 130658, that it allows the Thinlit to stay in place exactly where I want it. I'm going to show you how to use the thankful one. We're going to take a small piece of cardstock, and this is one of my tips today. I have found when you use the Thinlits that are the small ones that have a lot of details, that it really helps to put a couple pieces of wax paper in between. This is just kitchen wax paper. I've done 2 layers, so I have my magnetic platform, my acrylic cutting pad. The cutting pads are 113475. I'm going to put my cardstock down, my wax paper, and then I'm going to set my Thinlit. The final layer of the sandwich is another acrylic cutting pad. And now I'm going to run it through the Big Shot. And just crank it. One of the tools when using the Thinlits that I found extremely helpful is the paper piercing tool, which is number 126189. The paper piercing tool comes in a little plastic cylinder. You can store it that way, you can store it flat, doesn't matter. It's just a great way to store it, and then it's a little easier sometimes to see if you've got it in a craft box than the smaller tool. The paper piercing tool has a rubber cover on it to protect. It's a pretty sharp little point. Okay, so now we've cut this out. I also keep handy a little trash bin. And interesting enough, it's a collapsible one. I found at the auto store. It's for your car. It has Velcro on the bottom, so you can put it on the floor of the car. Works great. We have them all the time when I have get-togethers here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to gently lift up the wax paper. And then the wax paper can just be thrown away. Otherwise, there is enough room here. I could cut out a second one if I wanted. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the paper piercing tool, and I'll do it over my plate here so you can see. I'm just going to pop out these open areas here. What happens is they end up being popped out all over, so that's why I do them normally right over the trash bin. It's a little easier. Okay, so we're going to cut that out. Now, if you wanted, you could take the negative and put these little pieces inside and then cut this and use it on the card. Up to you. Now also on your Thinlit, you're going to see little holes. Gently take your paper piercing tool and poke in those holes. And what's happening is it's loosening the cardstock from the Thinlit. And as long as you're gentle, it really doesn't poke, it won't poke through except in these areas that are complete cuts. Okay. Now it's loosened from here. I find it's easiest to go from one end. So I'm going to poke, just gently get this started. And see how easy it's, you just got to go gentle though. And when you use regular cardstock, it's pretty sturdy. I haven't had any problems with these breaking apart as long as I was gentle and didn't pull quickly. Okay, almost done here. There's our thankful. Now once you do that, you'll see that the wax paper has stayed in here. And all you have to do is poke the hole through again. Get it started. Sometimes it's a little hard to just get it started, but at least you're doing it with the wax paper, not your cardstock. And then this you can just rip right out. And usually it'll come in one full piece. If not, just get the paper piercer underneath the wax paper and pull it right up. The wax paper with these intricate ones is just a really great tool. It's going to make it so much easier for you. I highly, highly recommend it. Another quick trick I want to show you, because I've got lots of little loose ends here. This is a lint roller for clothes. And just go over it. It helps keep this clean. If you find you have cardstock embedded down into the cutting pads, again, a great way to get the little pieces up and out. All right, so that's our Thinlits. And then again, these are the Expression Thinlit dies number 132171. Lots of things you can do to put them on a card, add them as a little accent. All right, so I'm going to set that one aside. Next, we're going to have two Thinlit card dies. It's not in any of our catalogs. It is on a flyer that's on my blog, and also I'll give you the item numbers. We have two Thinlit card dies. One is the label one, and the design or the name has to do with this part here. So here's the label one, and when it opens, you get little accessory Thinlits with it also. Here's the circle one. Now this one I've done an extra fold over flap, and I will show you how to do both of those. Okay, so that's the circle, and that's the label. They're two separate purchases. With the label one, these are the pieces you'll get in it. The label card Thinlits is number 133479, and the circle one is 133480. And I'll show you a couple of tricks to doing this. I'm going to use the label one first. Again, using the magnetic platform will help. It's not an absolute necessity. What I do recommend is when you use the magnetic platform, when you first buy this, I highly recommend buying a new set of acrylic cutting pads. And the reason is the flatter they are here, the better the magnetic attraction will be between the base and the Thinlits themselves. If you're doing something precise where you're cutting around a photo, if you're cutting a design, this is fantastic. Is a fantastic product. Again, you still can use your other cutting, your other platform if you'd like, but with anything intricate, the magnetic one really helps. Now, if we were going to cut and just do the standard card, I cut some of these are 2 different sizes. Hold on just a minute for me. Okay. If I was doing just a standard one, what I would do is I would turn this upside down. I could use a smaller piece of cardstock if I wanted. Give it my big shot again. Now, as they go through this, when it hits this part, it's going to seem like a little hard to crank. So just be patient, but it will go through. And if you hear that big pop there, that's normal with the machine. You haven't broken it. And then we lift this up and off. Okay. There are score lines here. So the shorter part here is the front. So we're going to bend. Yes, we're going to bend. This is funny, wrong way. Bend this forward, bend this one back. And I did it wrong. I apologize. Okay, front one, bend back. Back one, bend towards the back. And then it will open this way. See, it shows I'm human too. I do make mistakes periodically. I highly recommend using your bone folder so that you get nice, crisp creases. If you wanted to do an accent where this was an exact match, all you would have to do is determine which side you wanted, cut your piece to that size, and then just slide it underneath. And then you could just cut it right out and then glue it here. What I found, because you've got some play, a little bit of movement, that the multi-purpose liquid glue that we sell is the best for layering these. If you use snail adhesive and put another layer on top of here, that's exact like this is. What I found is that sometimes I needed to move it. With regular adhesive, it just adheres immediately. Here's another view of the label card. And this has got the fold over, and I'll show you how to do the fold over in just a minute. So here's our label with the single, and just this is how the die cuts it. Okay. Set these aside. Now I want to show you a trick if you decide you would like the fold over card. You take this, and this is a 5.5 by 8.5, and I trimmed it down about 1/8 of an inch in this dimension so that it would fit through here smoothly. So you're just going to slide it through. You don't want it to snag, and this is where the magnetic platform really helps. Okay. So we're going to set it in place, and see this is up and over the die, not underneath. With the other card that we made, everything, the cardstock was 100% underneath. So underneath on the front, over on the back, put our cutting pad back into place. And again, don't worry if you hear it crank. That's normal. When you take this out this time, and just gently pop it, what you're going to see is that there is a fold line here. Okay, so the front is going to go back. Again, we're going to use our bone folder. This is going to come forward. Okay. See, it's putting the accordion. And then along this crease line, I'm going to trim it, crease it with my bone folder. Now, if you want, it lines up, this is how it's going to open to you. You could trim it a little bit, but it's really not necessary. Now you have a card that opens up, perfect for putting a little gift card inside, or if you want to write a letter or a short note, you've got plenty of room now to write. So that's the label one. We do the exact same thing with the circle one. And again, the circle one is 133480. If we want just a standard card with it, just set it down. Let me show you with the magnetic. I don't have the second acrylic plate is here. And see how well it holds? So it will hold in place with your, with your die there, which is a real advantage. Okay, and we're just going to show you again. This is the circle one. This one, everything was underneath. And this will make the standard card. Again, don't worry about the popping. The other thing with your plates, periodically go in and reverse them so that you help with the warping. So you want to sometimes cut it through this way, sometimes cut it this, rotate them back and forth, alternate them. Okay, that's our excess. Front of the card, this side. So we're going to fold this part back. See how cute that is? And you can decorate the front, you can decorate the inside, you can leave it plain if you want. If you use designer series paper on this, I would recommend that on the top cutting pad that you replace it with the crease pad. It helps with the fold. Designer series paper is lighter in weight. So for your over pieces, your accents, it's fine. But when you're using it as a card itself, the card base, you take a little bit of a risk of the fibers breaking down, and you may have some tearing when you don't use that premium crease pad. And it comes in the standard size as well as the extended. We do have them in our catalog. All right, so that showed the standard card. Then I'm going to show you again how to make the one with the extra fold over. Again, I trimmed, instead of 5.5, it's about 1/8 of an inch shorter this way so that it would easily go through. Always remember that the cutting part faces down. Okay, and this one I didn't trim enough. Hold on just a second. I'll be right back. I've got my cutter right here. Let me trim it just a little bit more. Again, I've taken off just a tiny amount. It's just enough so that when you put it through, see how easily it goes through? The other way it was catching. So I'm going to put it here. I line everything up so it's even. Okay, put my cutting plate on top, and then I'm going to run it through the Big Shot one more time. There we go. Okay, this is going to be the front of our card. So that part, we go forward, or we go back because it's the front. And then this part, that way. Okay. And then this would have a crease in it because of the way, because we have the paper up and over the top. Again, the bone folder. And the bone folder you want to do flat. If you do it like this, with your finger and it upraised, you take the risk of putting a shine mark down your cardstock. So doing it flat is the best. Okay. And there's your card. And this is the label one, but this is what it would look like once it's decorated. Now, anytime I have a darker piece of cardstock, and I think that there's a chance someone's going to use a lighter ink, something that won't show up, or pencil, I would definitely line the inside of the card. That way it's definitely whatever is they're going to write is going to show up. So just a tip, you know, a liner is always a good idea. These cards fit in an A2 envelope, which is our standard cards. And that's it. I want to thank you for stopping by today and watching my video. And again, I have a blog, which is www.KreatesKards.com. And also I have a Stampin' Up website, which is marydirector.net. The links will also be in the message portion of my YouTube video. And I will post this on my blog also. Again, thank you for watching, and let me know if you have any questions.